Welcome to the 30-Minute Hour. It's the weekly podcast where we discuss business, sports, politics, and whatever's on our mind. I'm your host, Eric Twiggs, your procrastination prevention partner. I'm also the author of The Discipline of Now, 12 Practical Principles to Overcome Procrastination.
You wrote that book?
I know you've never heard me say that before on this podcast, but I thought I'd put it out there.
Yay!
I thought I would share some new information with our audience.
Okay,
you know?
all right.
And then joining me now, since everybody has jokes on this episode of the 30-Minute Hour, we'll continue the fun. Joining me is Ted Fells. He is our business strategist extraordinaire, all-around good guy.
Man, I'm excited about today. I mean, more than any show.
It's exciting times.
Man, I'm excited today.
It truly is not your everyday podcast.
No, not your everyday podcast. I mean, we're doing it different today.
Doing it different.
Man, we got a studio audience today.
Yeah!
Woo, 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 woo. That would be the studio. All right, in case you were wondering.
That's right.
And we're streaming live on Facebook.
Yes! Woo!
All right.
People excited about streaming live.
And we have to introduce the Renaissance Man. We got the Renaissance Man, who's actually on time for this week's episode.
Shocking.
I know, right? He's the man who refuses to be pigeonholed, Britton Smith.
Look here, I am so ahead of my time. My parents haven't even met yet.
Oh, man.
All right. Don't know how to respond to that exactly, but okay. We'll keep it moving. Keep it moving. So this is Not Your Everyday Podcast. You can find us on Facebook, on Instagram, on iTunes by typing in the 30-Minute Hour onto the search bar. You can also find us on YouTube. Don't forget you can subscribe to the 30-Minute Hour on both YouTube and on iTunes. Ted, I got something that's on my mind.
What's on your mind today, Eric?
What's on my mind today?
Other than homecoming.
Homecoming? Homecoming was outstanding.
Hampton University.
Right, the real HU, Hampton University. We just celebrated our homecoming.
Okay.
It was just on a completely different level from when I was there.
So you took the family, you did the parade and all of that.
Well, unfortunately, the family wasn't able to make it, so I made the sacrifice and drove down the road on my own.
Oh, boy. Okay.
It was a good time. I as always, I behaved myself, Ted, because that's what I do.
All right.
That's what I do.
The cues.
That's right. The men of Omega Psi Phi were very well represented at Hampton University. And I have to admit, the Kappas were too.
Not surprised at all.
Not surprised at all.
That's what we do.
That's what you do?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So now that we've discussed
Did y'all win the homecoming game?
56-6, Britton.
Were you on the 56 side or the he didn't say
Right,
was
he
it
didn't say
56
yes
or
or
the
no
6
yet.
side?
So we have gotten good at picking our homecoming opponents.
Oh, okay.
That's
okay.
right. You have to go for the easy wins when it's
No.
homecoming. Everybody's having a good time. Everybody's celebrating. Everybody's doing a tailgate. That's a bad time to take an L. Not that there's ever a good time to take an L, but that's a
Homecoming,
bad time.
not the time to do it. Okay.
So here's what's bad. And I hate to admit this, but I found out about the score of the game like that night.
Like, did we win?
Right, and people were asking me, so what was the score of the game? And I'm like, man, I don't know. I'm out here eating some wings. I'm out here catching up with people I haven't seen in years.
Yeah.
I forgot that the whole point is like the game.
The homecoming game. So you didn't see the band or any of that.
I didn't see the
You didn't
band.
know if y'all-
I didn't see the morning
You
parade.
didn't even know if you got a band.
We may not have had a morning parade. I don't know. That's bad.
Oh, man.
But
Hey, Eric. Hey,
Yeah.
Eric, how's the game? I don't know. I'm at homecoming.
I'm like, oh, we had a game? We were playing football?
That's too funny.
But no, it was excellent. I mean, I would certainly recommend. I know there's certain schools that say they're the greatest homecoming on earth. There's certain schools,
Absolutely.
but absolutely, okay,
Somebody that's affiliated in
Right.
the studio audience.
right. They go to that school.
Yeah. Know something about it.
Greatest homecoming on earth.
But Hampton would definitely give anybody a run for their money. So now I have something on my mind. I was getting to it. You know, we've got our guest in studio, and if you're watching, you know who this is already, and you're like, oh my gosh, it's him. But in honor of our guest, I have something on my mind.
Okay.
Britton, you got to ask me what's on my mind. You got to ask me, Britton.
Eric, what's on your mind?
All right, thank you. All right. Just right on glad he's paying attention there. All right. So for the listeners, for the viewers, there's an important question that you have to answer. So like if you're listening to us and you're driving, you probably want to pull over to the side of the road right now and really think about this question. You know, and then if you're on your treadmill and you're listening to us, you want to stop, hit the stop button, hit the pause button.
Oh, this is serious.
This is serious, right?
You're eating a ham sandwich.
Right.
You just want to stop.
You listen to a podcast, you eat the ham sandwich, and stop. And really ponder this question that I'm about to ask. Here it is. You ready? Are we ready in the studio audience to hear my question?
Yes.
Okay.
Isn't this the procrastination guy?
Oh, my God.
12 practical principles.
All right. Here's the question. What do you have a knack for? That's the question.
Ooh.
What do you have a knack for? And I bring this up because our guest today, we're going to introduce him shortly. He found out at the age of 8 that he had a knack for impersonating people. And look how far this knack has taken him. If you're watching, you recognize him because of this knack. It's put him on stages. It's put him on the radio. It's put him on BET. He's a celebrity. We have this crowd of people outside the studio just like going crazy trying to get in here. It's just...
Hold it down.
Right, so you can hear all the people. But it all started when he was 8 years old. It all started with that knack. So again, the question you have to ask yourself is, what is your knack? And I bring this up because in my work, when I'm coaching people always say, Eric, I don't know what I want to be when I grow up. Eric, I don't know what I want to do. I'm in this government job, but I'm not fulfilled. I make money, but I'm not satisfied. You have to ask yourself, what is your knack? And that the knack, that's that thing that comes easy to you, but it requires effort for others. Right? So you have to go back and connect the dots. We talked about this on the last episode. You want to know what your knack is. You want to find out what your purpose is. You want to find out what it is you really should be doing. You have to go back and connect the dots. Last time we talked about how the dots only connect in retrospect. So in other words, you have to look back. Look back. Think about when you were in school, when you were in college. You went to Hampton University. You went to A&T, the greatest homecoming on earth. Yeah.
HU, Howard.
or the other HU.
Behold.
Or PG.
The green.
PG.
Or Australia.
Australia in the house. Phoenix Online doing it.
So when you were taking those online classes, but no, think about, what did you always excel at? Was there a class you always seemed to do well in? Came natural to you? Think about jobs you've had in the past. What was it? There was always that one thing you enjoyed doing. Think about that thing that you do that people are always complimenting you on. No matter where you go, you always seem to get compliments on that one thing. That's your knack. That's your gift. And I would just challenge you. Just take one small step in the direction of your knack. You don't have to have it all figured out. You don't have to know all the details. Just start moving. There's a class you can take. There's a phone call you can make. There's a website you can go to. What is your knack? That's my rant. That's it. Anything you want to add to that before we introduce our illustrious guest?
That was great, man. I thought that was great. I just want to go ahead and get to the guest.
You want to get to the guest,
right? That's what I want to do. My knack is getting us to the guest.
Right. Let's do this. I won't procrastinate and get into our guest here. So he is a renowned 2-time comedy award-winning comedian, and he's the master of over 2,000 realistic impressions, to include Barack Obama, Denzel Washington, Mike Tyson, Sugar Ray Leonard, Frank Sinatra, and about 1,900 and something other people.
That's a lot of folks.
That's a lot of people.
Civil.
That's right. And so he's most known and famous, at least for me, as the mayor on BET's Rap City.
Yeah,
He's the mayor.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, too.
That's right. He's now aligned his brand of entertainment with Radio 1. He has his own show. It's got 500,000 listeners that tune in every day. He's on 2 different Radio 1 platforms, 1450 AM and 95.9 FM. Wow. Please join me in welcoming to the 30-minute hour, Chris Thomas.
Yes.
All right, I'm a man, Jack. Let the midnight special shine in on
Oh, man.
Oh, man.
Man, good.
Fantastic.
Good to have you, man.
I have
Great
to
to
tell
be
you,
here.
it's truly an honor to have
was-
you in the
It
studio.
was a great 4 miles over here.
You had a long trip.
How was the flight?
All that traffic.
Oh, man. So, yeah, it's an honor. And like I said in my rant, you, at 8 years old, you found out you had this knack for impersonating people.
Yes, I did. Let me tell you how that became imagination. I believed in those shows like Superman and Batman, especially the $6 Million Man. Everything that I saw them do, I would try to emulate. And one day when I used to live on the Eastern Shore of Maryland, I decided that I was going to have my breakout day and show all the young kids on the bus that I could fly. So the bus always stopped in front of my house. So it gave me so I sat in front that day. And I ran off the bus, ran upstairs, had the window open, came out on the roof, had the towel on.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
And I saw the kids look at me and say, look. That dude is crazy. And I was like, no, I'm going to fly.
All right.
I'm going to save this world.
All right.
So I went off, took one foot off the roof. I was airborne for a minute. Around about a good 2 seconds. And once I crashed down, I guess Almighty God probably said, you know, this guy has good intentions. I'll give him something else to do. And I started doing impressions. My first one was Donald Duck.
Okay.
And that's when doing impressions became my knack. And after seeing other impressions, only other one that I used to see was Rich Little, Frank Gorshin, and George Kirby,
Okay.
which I won his award on television.
Wow.
They used to have
That's
a TV show called The Copycats
Uh-huh.
that used to be on television. So, yep, that was something that I do very well. I do
Absolutely.
impressions very well.
Absolutely. So, and you work with other comedians. So this thing of doing impressions, is this
Right.
something that you can teach someone, or do you have to have a natural knack for it?
Depending on how close their voice is to a certain character. It's not easy because you have to be able to pronunciate certain words.
Right.
Like Ronald Reagan was always, well, well. As a matter of fact, my fellow Americans, that's the White House. Well, and that's people calling me and, well, tell them I only stopped by for a minute. Then I'm going back up to the sky.
Wow. So how long, let's say you see someone on TV And let's hypothetically, Ted Fells. You see him and you say, I'm going to get a Ted Fells impersonation. Like how long does it typically take you to really get it down?
It's based on something that he might say all the time or often. Like Ronald Reagan said, well, as a matter of fact. So that was what I had to leech on to. And once I kept saying, well, as a matter of fact, then everything else came a little easy, a little easier. Say something, Ted. Something, Ted. See, everything is about uniqueness in the voice, and some people can do me. A few can me. Just people who are not even impressionists by certain things that I say. I probably could if I was around him and I found him saying something over and over, maybe a phrase or something over and over.
We're going to work on that for the next one. Ted example. Yeah.
I mean, it's not like Billy D. When Billy was, well, listen, are you ready for me to speak? The Redskins, are you ready for some football?
So, we mentioned you have 2,000 impersonations.
I do a lot of impressions. I kind of go back.
Okay.
Go back from John Wayne.
Oh, wow.
Well, let's in here, Mr. Nightlinger or George Burns.
Hello there. This is George Burns. Hey, by the way, I feel pretty good,
Jimmy Stewart. Well, let's get. So I kind of go back.
Wow.
Yeah. So, is there like a personal favorite of all impersonations that you do? You have one that really...
Right now, the one that gets a lot of attention is Barack.
Okay.
I mean, there are many impressionists who do Barack, but people kind of favor mine. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much. And indeed, it is a pleasure for me. For me, everybody. It's not like yesterday or when Elijah. And when I spoke, I meant what I said. I said what I meant. He's just one of those rare individuals. He's honorable. Everybody is not honorable.
So here on the 30 Minute Hour, we talk about politics.
Right.
There was sports, other things. So what would Barack Obama have to say about this current political climate with impeachment hearings and the 2020 election? What would President Obama have to say about that?
Well, I got to say, they elected him fair and square. Just like they elected me. But Donald is a little crazy like that glue. He's not, and let's put it this way. The Democrats are more caught up with what he's tweeting than getting down to business. About when you have 20 candidates to run for president, something is wrong with your party.
Great point, Mr. President. Great point.
I second that, Barack.
Oh, man.
I understand what I'm trying to say now.
My face hurts.
They've tried everybody. And the young lady who just quit or resigned because she had an affair. And it's going to be a whole lot of other things coming up also.
Oh, man.
She quit after being elected not too long ago. And then we got my man Joe. And then we have Bernie. Bernie's sick.
Yeah.
Bernie needs to just drop on out.
Let it go, huh?
That one little, even though he's well, he's not well.
Oh, my God.
So, Britton, I hear you. You've got a question. I'll let you jump in.
ask me anything. But leave Michelle out of it. That's my boo. Everybody wants Michelle.
She's doing the book thing, and everybody's
Strippers, everybody. Everybody wants a little bit of that presidential piece.
Oh my God. So what did you say to your daughter when you took her to school and dropped her off?
Oh, my kids?
Yeah.
Well, my kids got caught up in the hype too.
Yeah.
They wouldn't even actually call me dad. I would be out with my children and they would look at me and say, "Is your name Chris Thomas?" And I was like, "No, I'm dad." And now I'm older. I say, "Don't call me dad. Call me dude." It has its rewards.
Yeah.
And sometimes it has its backlash because you're hoping as an entertainer that people understand that this is a God-given gift.
Yeah.
And everyone can do whatever they want to do.
Mm-hmm.
No one is holding them back. But through Facebook, Instagram, tweeting, you find out how people really think
Right.
in today's society.
Right.
They are in your business, and you don't even know them.
Mm-hmm.
But it's amazing how God created everybody different.
Right. Right. And it's one of the things, like we mentioned, you have a knack. And I think people probably look at you, well, yeah, Chris, he's just naturally funny, but you put in a whole lot of work
We're
to
all
get to
funny.
this point.
I think I'm
We
pretty.
started out cracking jokes.
Right. Right.
You know what I'm saying? And people were laughing. So everybody is a comedian. You're just fulfilling it, being able to take a long story and make it a short story.
Right.
And that's all comedy is. But it's not that easy.
Right.
It depends on your wit
Uh-huh.
and how witty you are. I've
Right.
had some very well-known comedians, friends of mine, who use my jokes on their comedy specials. Now, Tyler Perry told me one time, he was Diary of a Mad Black Woman. He invited me to the play.
Mm-hmm.
And I always thought about this. They have a show now called Laugh Mob.
Right.
And I actually told the creator of that show on True TV what I would like to do.
Mm-hmm.
So he went ahead and did it. Making your jokes come to life like you live the joke. But he did it in a different way. He has the comedian on stage telling the joke, and then he has somebody else trying to read their lips. It's called the Laugh Mob. But Tyler Perry told me as Medea on stage during the intermission, he came out and he was dressed as Medea, and he said, "Chris, I use your jokes in my plays." Now, I thought it was great, but it wasn't favorable for someone else to. But it was smart, because you have to understand that some people are genius, but not that. When you have all those shows, he has to have people to go out and find situations, because he didn't live. He said he came out of living in a car.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So he can't have every show him living in a car.
Right.
So he has to have some type of creative form
Right.
to write these shows like he has.
Yeah.
But it's still, what are you going to do? But somehow, some way, some comedians ought to be compensated for that, because that might be their only claim to fame. Like Ernest, remember Ernest? You know what I mean?
Oh
Yeah.
Remember him?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was his claim to fame.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been very, very lucky to be very creative, and I will tell people, comedians, that they're not really going to go too far if they don't have friends as comedians to approve of them doing their material.
So there's a network in the whole comedy circle that.
Either you have it or you don't. You can't say you LeBron James, and you can't get on that court, and you can't do what LeBron. See, the magnificent thing about LeBron or David Chappelle, when I introduced David Chappelle on stage when he was 14, I did not have any foresight on knowing how big he was going to become. But I kind of paved the way when I said, "Ladies and gentlemen, I'm about to introduce a young man who's 14 years old, and you never know, he might be our next biggest star.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's interesting. I think this is a good time to kind of go to that.
Right.
Dave Chappelle actually mentions you.
Yeah, they was on the Sway Morning Show.
Mm-hmm.
They was on the Sway Morning Show, and him and Donnell Rollins, they were basically from here.
Mm-hmm.
And from a couple of years ago, they just brought my name up about people they would hate to follow on stage. Now, I don't know if people really see me perform.
Yeah.
I was the first host of the Kings of Comedy tour. That's before they did the movie. I was the first host. I used to host the Def Comedy Jam. I hosted the Aces of Comedy.
Mm-hmm.
I've done a lot of shows from Vegas to New York. I mean, Radio City Music Hall, MCI Center. But a lot of people, the comedians, when they give you, like Jamie Foxx, we toured together. Me and Monique, we worked together. Me and Dolomite, we worked together.
Wow.
Me and Jimmy J.J. Walker. Somebody called me today about Dolomite. He said, man, I didn't know who that guy was until Eddie Murphy, and I remember that you was riding him down the road with you. We talked about after he did his movie, The Human Tornado.
Right.
Yeah.
And Dolomite was something, man. Way down in the jungle deep. But this clip is David Chappelle talking on the Sway Morning Show about me. Ready?
Yeah, let's roll it.
I'll tell you who got me. Remember Chris Thomas? Yeah. Destroyed me. I'd only done stand-up like 4 times. They were like, Dave, we're going to put Chris up next. And then the MC literally goes, you can go home if you like. And I was like, I'm staying. I bombed. It was the worst. I dry mouth bombed. You ever get bombed so bad that you get thirsty? So cut to like years later, this is when we were all doing like Def Jam tours, Def Comedy Jam tours, and we were at Madison Square Garden. The show was Chris Thomas, Chris Tucker, and they made me close. Man, I murked that shit.
That's it.
All right, that's awesome. That is awesome.
Well, I mean, the reason why I appreciate it, he didn't have to say it, because he's been around and worked with so many other comedians, from like Jerry Seinfeld to George Wallace, and but for him to bring my name up, I didn't know how to react. I said, let's make it go viral. That's one of the first things, because I have sat back, and instead of doing the things that I should have done, I was asked to be on the Bernie Mac show and play his brother. I was asked to be on the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air to play some current and some back and forth roles, Jamie Foxx show, but I never went to California. They gave me a contract at the Famous Comedy Store at 18, and I sort of, I remember I called my mom. I said, Mom, they just gave me a commercial. Just gave me a contract to sign. She said, that fast? I said, yes. She said, what you gonna do? I said, I'm coming home. And I just left because Jimmy J.J. Walker or Brum Man can't even get out of their character. And that's the one thing. Urkel can't even get out of being Urkel. He can't move forward with his career because people look at him as Urkel. And I wasn't gonna get stuck in that. Rap City did a lot for me. Made me the first comedian ever to host a rap video show.
Yes.
Which was #1 for 5 years. Had maybe 50 million viewers, and being the first comedian ever to host a rap tour with Run DMC, the Beastie Boys. I did a video with Public Enemy that became like one of the top videos of all time, called Night of the Living Bassheads, where I'm a reporter.
Oh, yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah.
This is Lucy's house.
Yeah.
And this is what comes to when one of their family. Now, Basin is crazy. Look at the family. But what's happening now in the industry is everybody wants to be famous. And they're not working. BET was more like a college.
Right.
Don't care how good your show was doing, they were going to try to replace you with somebody else because they thought it was them. Video Soul should have never went off the air.
Yeah.
Rap City, I kind of stepped away because my co-host, he had children,
Right.
And I was making money doing comedy.
Hmm.
But I didn't know what it had done to me. I didn't know what type of platform that I really was on until I go out in the street and people cry and tell me I raised them.
Mm-hmm.
So, but now the industry is different. You see too much of the same thing.
Right.
Just new characters.
Right.
And in comedy, all these overnight sensations on YouTube, I'm happy for them.
Right.
But at least have some grit and talk about your life. Because your life is not over until you pass away.
Right. Right.
But they don't want to do that. If I talk about chocolate covered ants and somebody see it tomorrow, they're going to want to talk about chocolate covered ants.
Right.
They don't have identity.
Yeah. So I'm sure anybody that starts out in comedy thinks they're going to be the next Chris Thomas.
Well, no, we're all comedians.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just about Hollywood is somebody's idea.
Right.
It's not my idea, but it's an idea that I love and I want to get part of.
Mm-hmm.
Denzel, Samuel L. Jackson, David, he just got the Mark Twain Award.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's a high honor.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
And I wonder how Martin Lawrence feels about that.
Hmm.
You know, Wanda Sykes, Monique,
Right.
Tommy Davidson. They may not never get it.
Right. Right.
But David Chappelle, he played diversity.
Hmm.
He just didn't have an urban audience. He had a diverse audience.
Yeah.
If he doesn't do anything anymore on television, and I hope if he does, it's better than what he's already done.
Yeah.
You're not going to be at the top of the Chappelle show.
Right.
It's outstanding.
Yes.
It is.
But what he was able to get away with.
Right.
And it was funny.
Yeah.
Rick James, the
Yeah.
Prince.
Oh my God.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it was hilarious. So, just like you're doing your podcast, you have your listeners, but you want more listeners.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's 6 million people in this area.
Right.
For God's sake, they're fighting over who goes to the club. They're fighting over somebody else's 300 people in a nightclub.
Right. Right.
When other people, and you can tell that it's not the 300, because they'll do a show at Constitution Hall or the Verizon Center,
Right.
and there'll be 40,000 people there. So there are people who want to go out.
Right. Right.
You just gotta catch them,
Yeah.
or you gotta whatever their money is worth.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody wants to be talked about. They want to come out to laugh.
Yeah.
You know, so, and that's what I try to do. I go on the road and try to get people who have failing businesses. Some they listen, some they don't. Everybody think it's about a party and jumping down. I'm telling you, that DJ is not happening because you're hearing them records on satellite radio.
Right.
You're hearing your DJ play them, you're hearing them in your car, you can play them on your phone. Live entertainment is the key. So I go to places that I see they're failing. First of all, you can't, and this is my problem with a lot of urban clubs.
Mm-hmm.
You go to Applebee's, there's tables at every, you eat your food.
Right. Right.
So you a club, you don't take tables out and then put row chairs. Expect people going to eat on their laps like you're having a picnic.
Right.
They just don't want to do it. It's like, I'm not trying to tell somebody what to do. I'm trying to tell them what's going to help them.
Right.
But they always want to put their little twist in it. So there's no twist as long as it works.
Yeah. So if there's someone that's listening to us and their dream is to be a stand-up comedian and they're just getting started, what advice do you have for them?
Find out who you are first. It's not going to work if you're trying to tell Richard Pryor jokes or my jokes.
Right.
Because that's what took Comic View off the air. So they used to show these jokes with comedians doing the same jokes over and over, and they thought that was something special.
Right.
Oh, do we really all think alike? They took that show off, and then they tried to bring it back with some more. Then they tried to bring it back with Kevin Hart. It's done.
Right.
So try to talk about something you know that you can explain. This is like you going to court and they ask you to tell the truth and nothing but the truth.
Right. Right.
And people get in trouble because they tell the first lie, then they go back and ask them again, and they don't remember the lie. Did you eat peanut butter and grape jelly, or was it strawberry jelly? And that's how it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's better that people stay in their lane. It's like I got this joke out that I talk about this older lady. When I was older, when I was younger, 18, I used to date this lady who was 50 years old. 50 looked pretty damn good, right? So I ran into her at the CVS, and she was calling me out like I was her ex-lover for real. She hated. She was like, Crash, baby. Damn. Chris, you're looking good. I said, excuse me, ma'am, are you one of my mother's friends? No, I ain't one of your mother's. I know you, Chris. I love you, baby. You look good. Chris, I think about you all the time. I'm 80. I was like, Nationwide is on this side. Chris, I remember, I don't look the same no more. And I mean, the way she was talking, like she was some type of witch. And I'm like, no, I don't know you, ma'am. They are witches. Everybody, they are. Yes, I know I look different. I ain't got no teeth. And I've been having a fever. I was like, maybe you teething.
What you crazy?
So you mentioned earlier helping businesses out.
Helping businesses.
So you're doing an impersonation of Mike Tyson.
I do. I do impersonation of Mike Tyson.
What business advice would Iron Mike have?
Well, it's the same thing. Don't get into something that you can't support. I mean, it's not ludicrous. This is serious. I mean, I'm in the weed business. I have a weed farm in Vegas. I'm doing perfect. I mean, don't forget all the money I made in boxing, but I'm Mike Tyson. I was knocking people out. So now I'm knocking the weed out. But people just got to be determined. They forget about advertising.
Right.
All businesses, they open and forget about advertising. They think they can open up an Italian restaurant next to Olive Garden.
Right.
And they're going to be successful.
They can't understand why
Right.
business isn't going well.
And
Right.
they're trying to bring up the prices.
Right.
That's what they're doing wrong. You find out, everybody who drives a Mercedes-Benz or Maserati, it doesn't mean they have money. Mm-hmm. They just buying what they want at that particular time, but they ain't doing too much traveling.
Right.
And you really don't need a big car to impress anybody if your business is you're doing good.
Yeah.
It's just another form of you're buying what you want.
Yeah.
And that's what you want to spend your money on. Me, myself, I hate bills.
Yeah. Right.
I feel just as privileged as buying a used car and just flying everywhere I go.
Yeah.
I mean, buying a used Maserati, I'm talking. But you know what I'm saying? Follow your dream, but make sure you can, if you buy a Rolls Royce, make sure you can at least afford part of the dealership before you dipping into that type of cash.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Forget the property value goes down a little,
Yeah.
and any day somebody can run into it,
Yeah.
and it's done.
Yeah.
But I think this is probably, you see this in comedy, we see it in business. Now, people underestimate the hustle that's required. Mm-hmm. You know, you think you can just put your restaurant out there or start a podcast,
Right.
and everybody's going,
Well, nowadays they give you they're prepping you through Eventbrite
right.
and Groupons.
Mm-hmm.
So they're giving you ways to sell your product or how to get people to know your business.
Right.
But you still have to find your crowd.
Right.
It's like I have always thought about a business. You ever had a North Carolina hot dog?
No.
Yes.
I won't tell everything, but there's a North Carolina hot dog that is off the chain.
Yeah.
If you're talking about North Carolina barbecue here in the Maryland area, in the DMV, but they got a hot dog that I would love to introduce. And I believe that I would sell over 1 million. They got a guy who lives in North Carolina. He done sold over 3 million hot dogs. His own business. What people don't understand is something unique and something tasteful. Like they nowadays fry macaroni and cheese. They make it a cheese nugget. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's what Burger King, that's that new advertisement.
Yeah.
It's macaroni with cheese fried.
Yeah.
And those people who like it. There's a lot of people who fail and go out of business and they don't have to.
Yeah.
They got to understand that the dollar store is booming. And you trying to figure out how they going to make it. They making $20,000, $30,000 a week. Because a person can go in there and spend $100 and just come out with something, a whole lot of stuff.
Right.
Or Dollar Tree or Family Dollar. They're surviving.
Right.
People think it's old food, like a banquet TV dinner. You look on it, they got to have the same regulations as everybody else.
Yeah.
So why would you go and buy a can of Campbell's soup
Right.
for $2.50? I'm not going to say this about what grocery store you hang out at. But when I shop, I look for the deals.
Yeah.
You know, if you go to Wise, and that's why I go to Wise, after a while, they want to get rid of that chicken. So they might sell it when it was $8, sell that same chicken that ain't gonna expire but 2 days later for $3.50. But it's still, I'm not gonna, if you buy it and you still let it stay in your refrigerator for 10 days without freezing it, it's gonna spoil anyway.
Right.
So why not catch the 2 days before it and then freeze it? And then you're gonna eat it when it unthaws. That's when you're gonna cook it.
You helping some folks today, man. You helping some folks.
I mean, this is, or if you're gonna go to Applebee's or Fridays to spend your money because you wanna eat instead of going to the clubs, that's what you do.
Right.
You know, and I always try to say with this project that we're talking about, this comedy club over at the OTI, wonderful restaurant over in Largo, Maryland. It's inside of the Comfort Inn. Used to be the Hampton.
Right.
And then it used to be Hotel something, Hotel Landover. But now it's called the Comfort Inn. And this guy went against Bobby Flay, the chef.
Yeah.
He was one of the contestants on Beat Bobby Flay. But I'm not trying to go over there and hit people across the head.
Right.
I'm not going to be bringing in those $30,000 acts. If I ain't going to bring in Martin, I might bring in Carl Payne, who was on there every day with Martin.
Right.
Or Bruh Man from the Fifth Floor.
Right.
Or Gina.
Right.
Or, you know, but people, you know, they get greedy. They start thinking about money, but they don't understand. You can go to a club now and they ain't like it used to be. People, tonight, classics would be packed.
Right.
Right. How you going back?
For those of people who listen nationwide, clubs in D.C., Black went back when it was Chocolate City.
Right.
Chocolate City didn't have to change. It just wasn't moving fast enough for the nation's capital.
Right.
For the people who were trying to do development.
Yeah.
It didn't change. People had to leave because they raised the property tax.
Right.
And they had to move. So they're not. It was a good time. We had a chance to brag.
Right.
Chocolate City. But when Barack came into the office, that's when more stores started. They started moving out, right?
Yeah.
The gentrification.
Well, I mean, if you live in a community, well, we got a whole lot of issues that can be talked about in our community.
Right.
But I'd rather look at diversity and saying it's not color. People just doing what they want to do.
Right.
And by having, they are my color. And that's all.
Yeah.
Every color do the same thing. Just is not televised like it is with us.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I love my people. If God asked me tomorrow, what color would you like to be? I would say I want to be the same color.
Yeah.
It's not the color, it's the people.
Right.
And what you do with, it ain't gonna be the change. You're either going to heaven or you're going to hell. Either color don't make your character any rougher. straight hair, blue eyes. Might be a good difference.
Right.
I mean, certain things that people have are attractive. They attract certain people. But at the end of the day, it don't matter. That one day of sleeping in bed changes everything, doesn't it? You thought that's what you wanted.
Got Chris Thomas on the 30
Looking at
minute
the
hour.
camera guy, he's shaking his head. I'm talking to you, young man. I'm talking to you. How old are you? How old is he? 24. 20? You just don't know what you missed out on. You missed out on a lot, but at least you're doing something.
Yes. Word.
You're recording really the past. People can talk about this.
Absolutely. So you go ahead.
I feel real old right now. You recording the past. I mean,
Right.
Well, you gotta understand, we're talking about things that happened, but we're just as current as that young man.
Yeah.
But we still here to see it come up where he just started out
Yeah.
recognizing it. We knew it was coming.
Right.
Yeah.
Because we don't hang out with him don't mean that we're not. His music is probably totally different from ours.
Yeah.
I'm old school. I like some new school. I still like some Jay-Z.
Yeah.
But Jay-Z was able to keep up with the times. He was back. He was on the show on Rap City.
Oh yeah.
When he had Hawaiian Sophie.
Hawaiian Sophie, folks remember that. Yeah.
Jay-Z, what, 40, 50 around about now?
Yeah.
That's not young. It ain't.
I beg to differ.
What I mean, what I'm talking about age is, by now you have children that have children.
Right.
Yeah.
So, who's young?
Yeah.
You're just able to do some things with them that our parents didn't do.
Yes, true.
My parents stayed in a house, and I don't know. You know, no one knew how great sex could be until somebody stumbled on something. You look at your parents and they're in love, but you don't know if they had a good night in bed or not. It was their way. You stay with your family, regardless on the sex, or whoever took it to the next level knows.
This is not your everyday podcast. I mentioned that at the beginning.
And no profanity or whatsoever. But this is, man, they brought the Flintstones back on MeTV, and I've been wondering when somebody was going to be smart enough to bring back the Flintstones.
Oh yeah.
Telling you.
And they're on MeTV, and you can see it on any city, and it's not on cable.
Wow.
I would suggest your family have grandkids, anybody, tell them to watch the Flintstones. It's not too grown up.
Is it new Flintstones or the old?
No, it's the old Flintstones.
The old school
Okay.
Flintstones.
Bonnie
It
Rubble?
came on the other day. It was on at 7:30 p.m.
Oh man.
Stopping the car with your feet and all
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Pretty soon it'll be the Jetsons.
Little Rascals, that's what I was gonna say.
All the little rascals.
Little Rascals.
Well, you know Bill Cosby bought the Little Rascals apparently.
Oh,
So that's why they
yeah.
he won't
That's hung
just
up
so
in
you
court.
won't just so they won't show it on air.
Oh man.
The Comedy Corner, we talked about that earlier. Tell us about that. That's coming up.
Well, back in the late early '90s, there used to be a club out in Greenbelt called Comedy Connection, and that's where I first introduced David Chappelle. That's where I introduced Bill Bellamy, Hamburger from Def Jam. So then they moved to Laurel. They had the dinner theater.
Yeah.
So I talked to Pam and Shelby and some people, and I said, it's not all about me trying to get all the dollars. We just want to tell our friends here's a place to go where they got good food. And it's right off the Beltway. And that was very important.
Yeah.
It's off the Beltway.
Yeah.
It's like classics.
Mm-hmm.
It brings a little bit too much. As long as you can make it to that Beltway, you gone.
Every time you mention classic, you just bring back memories. You know?
Even if you had to go around the loop
Classics,
100
Oak
times.
Tree, Utopia.
Boy, you going back.
Oh man.
So what we're trying to do is bring in, I have a bunch of friends but it depends on how me and Jamie, I know we're friends. I know Chris Tucker. I know they'll come by, but I want to put it in, I don't want to mess up their brand with some bull crap. I want to make sure that people come out and have a good time. And that goes for the OTI too. It's not, I don't like people to be, I want people not to be greedy and understand. And I always tell businesses, why don't you ever try to do something that Applebee's, they got 2 for $25. Olive Garden, they giving you pasta. For God's sake, pasta don't cost a lot just to chop up some chicken. The Chinese do it to you every day, don't they? They take that chicken breast and they cut it sideways and chop it up. And they done use that chicken breast at least 3-4 on certain dishes. I'm telling you the truth.
True.
That's how they do it. So people are not going to come out and pay $18 and $25, but as I said, he went against Bobby Flay, so he does have dishes that you can buy that's really, really good. I just want people to not spend a lot of money. I want them to come out so they'll come back. And I'm going to bring in Brian Hooks from the movie Soul Plane. He's the one that smelt the panties number with some more. He's on, and I'll try to bring him by here. If he comes in early enough. He's on Eve, the Eve show. He comes on every day on TV One. He hosted the movie, it was his movie, 3 Strikes. And he's in a new movie with Fool's Gold with Matthew McConaughey and Kevin Hart.
Oh, wow.
And a bunch of movies. He was in the Austin Powers movies and everything like that. So I want to bring in the second B-list type of comedian. Now, don't understand, the list is how much a person makes.
Right.
That's how they call it.
Okay.
You know, if you're making 30, 40, 50, you're an A-lister. But really it's not an A-lister because Chris Rock is making 200,000. So I don't know if it's an A plus or an A plus plus plus.
Right.
So we really want people to come out to the OTI, and that's November the 15th and 16th. And maybe I'll come out and do a podcast.
Yeah, that would be great.
Invite some of your friends. And then you can go online to Eventbrite. Eventbrite Comedy Corner DMV. And it's on Eventbrite, and you can buy your tickets. Got 4 shows. I'm gonna head it off. I'm gonna kick it off.
You're gonna kick it off.
So if people have never seen me perform, this is your chance. If you want to know what David Chappelle is talking about, find out why.
Yes.
All right.
And I'm gonna have a couple other friends with me.
November 15th and 16th.
15th, yeah, it's the OTI, and that's inside of the Comfort Inn Suites.
Okay. In Largo, Maryland. Be sure to come by and check it out. Then you've also got the Chris Thomas
Radio show.
Radio show. That's right.
The Chris Thomas Radio show on Radio 1. I've been there for almost 2 years. It's a show that it's like a variety show. I have somebody calling in from the TV show TMZ. And they call in and they do a segment called Just In Case You Didn't Know. The show is called What's the Word? I have a word of the day. Then I do a segment where Barack does the quote of the day. Hello, this is Barack with the quote of the week. Then I have a love and hip hop segment. Or a young lady out of Raleigh, she sends in her love and happiness. Then I have a quote from the Bible about love.
Okay.
Then I have a lawyer who calls in. It's called It's the Law. We to ask him questions about the law, like what is obstruction of justice, and he'll tell you what the law terms is. Then we have a comedy spotlight. We do this all in a half an hour.
Wow.
We have a famous comedian on our comedy corner. Then we have Wendy Williams or Whoopi Goldberg. They'll call in from the great Sylvia Traymore, impressionist extraordinaire. Then we have Illustrate Radio. We do a segment from their current radio show. Then we have interviews. We have interviews with different people, celebrities, businesses, because it's very relevant to advertise. A lot of people don't understand 6 million people is a lot of people.
Yes.
No need to try to go over and grab that person when you can get your own. Tomorrow there'll be somebody else
Right.
preparing to graduate from high school. Have to go out into the work world and find a job. Graduating from college. So you always have a continuous clientele of people.
Right.
You know, better deals. Some people just don't have it. So, so the radio show is good. It comes on every Thursday at 11:30 a.m.
Thursday, 11:30. It's on 1450 a.m.
1450 a.m. and 95.9 and on your phone. WOLDCnews.com and push listen. And after that, I go over to the Redskins station in the same building, same floor, 980 with Rick Dot Walker.
Oh.
Okay.
Well, we don't even need to talk about the Redskins. We know where they headed, just like the Nats
Yeah.
might be headed Tuesday.
Man, I'm glad you brought up the Nats. So here's the interesting thing about the Nats. So Friday, right? You had all the little kids at
Right.
the school. They was cheering. They
Right.
had the little shock outfits on. We was up. We was up 2-0, and then this morning I ain't heard Baby Shark play at all. I heard we need Jaws. We need more than Baby Shark right now.
Well, that's part of management, and it's part of being overconfident. When they went there and they got those 2 wins, and don't forget the Redskins do it all the time.
Yeah.
They're a team that they think that, and I'm sure that the team consists of Republicans and Democrats, and that's the way they play. They play like they don't want to score no points, and the other team just score points.
Yeah.
It's a game.
Yeah.
The Patriots don't care.
Right.
They would rather be in the record books than shaking your hand.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
And it's all about management. I feel sorry for Adrian Peterson.
Yeah.
He's who, because if they can't do anything, let this man run so he can go up the record books
Right.
and find his place in the Hall of Fame. They don't even have that much.
So you see, just giving the ball about 50, 60 times a game. Just keep.
No,
getting-
well, they don't even know how to run. If you know anything, I know a little bit about football, but the way they play, they don't play with an imagination to make the other team. They know what they're going to do.
Yeah.
Right.
They know that they're not going to do anything fancy. They're not going to throw it down the field. They're going to throw it 20 yards down the field.
Right.
I mean, they had a bunch of good receivers.
Yeah.
And the guy that they have now, hopefully he will become Rookie of the Year. So all that's going to do is make them have to give him a little bit more money. But they won't be in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And they'll be talking about next year.
Right.
It's gonna be our year.
And they'll be talking about Haskins,
Yeah.
what he's going to do. And for a young guy, I would tell him to sit back and really pay attention. Because he could be starring next year, or he could be moving around this NFL.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if they put him in there to fail, but throwing interceptions every time you come in.
That's not a good career move.
Not gonna work.
I mean, he could run,
Yeah.
do something to throw them off. They could have won that game.
They could have.
Yeah.
They should have. I mean, San Francisco don't really have that much rain during their football season.
Yeah.
You know, I've been out there. They supposed to won that game, but I mean, I don't know because I'm not on the field and I ain't being hit.
It's a lot easier when we watch
Right.
it.
It's easy to watch to say what they should do, but
Yeah.
It all sounds great from here, though.
That's right.
they don't want to score no points.
Right.
No.
They put their defense and well as their offense in predicaments. Certain teams that don't have a defense, at least they score a lot of points.
Yeah.
So we're gonna score points just in case.
Y'all can't stop nobody.
Right, just in case they score, we're just gonna be a battle of the points.
Yeah.
And that's what happens.
Yeah.
To the Redskins, they didn't get the memo that they're actually supposed to try to score.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, well, I've been part of 3 Super Bowls here when I was young.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really not like I'm in no hurry.
Right.
I was here when Joe Theismann won.
Right.
I was
That's right,
here
yeah.
when Doug Williams and Mark Rippon.
That's right. We
So
see.
this gentleman right there ain't got no Super Bowl.
Right.
The 24, see?
He don't think the Redskins
Right,
ever won.
right. He don't think that he doesn't know.
Yeah.
The Red, I won a Lifetime Achievement Award with Doug Williams not too long ago.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
And that was special because I knew him. I used to go down to the Touchdown Club. Remember on L Street?
Yeah.
Used to have downstairs, and I used to go down there and do Howard Cosell to announce the Redskin of the week. This is Howard Cosell. Are you still listening on the phone? We haven't let him get in on anything. Mohammed, you want to say something? I want to say, I know you're listening. Everybody listening. I don't know that I'm the greatest. With Joe Frazier. With Kenny No, I could have with Mike Tyson. But Larry Holmes stopped me. Thank you, O.J. Well, man, first of all, people don't understand about what really happened. Thank you, O.J. Simpson.
That might be the first OJ I've heard.
In a long time. I didn't know you could still do OJ out there, man. People say OJ, but
Well, he dug his own grave.
yeah.
I mean, they already knew that they was looking for some money from him anyway. But that's what crazy thing. It's not his intelligence on the football field. His intelligence off the football field.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So you're talking about boxing, and you're here in the Maryland, PG County. I mean, that's where one of the greatest out of PG
The
County.
home of Sugar Ray Leonard.
Yeah.
Well, you know, it's so funny. Ray Leonard, when he first won his title, want to say hello. If somebody knows his mother, she's 90 years old. And we used to always go over to the house, and ran into his niece the other day at my little joint. Little joint I hang out is called. It's a little joint that I hang out at called Sunnybrook Tavern. And we was talking about, because his brother, when I was young, they were like 10, 12 years older. So I had to actually talk to his kids. I was hanging out with Little Ray. Little Ray Jr., the one that, you know, from the commercial.
Yeah.
Feel like 7-Up. And I ran into him the other day around about several years ago. And he was like, Krista, you remember me? But Ray Leonard, he was something, man. He was go, Chris, I've got to say, through every single moment, I feel very, very dedicated. Thank you, Ray Leonard. Sugar Ray Leonard. He's one of the greatest. See, he hasn't got in no trouble either.
No, he hasn't. You have like his facial expressions and everything.
I used to be around him, used to hang out with him, and used to go to parties together before he got married again. And I ran into his wife, Juanita. I knew her very well, too.
Yeah.
She married Nixon, the baseball player.
Uh-huh. Oh, man. Well, this has been an awesome episode. So how can our listeners get in contact with you?
Oh, they can go to Chris Thomas Show on Instagram.
The Chris Thomas Show
Chris
on
Thomas Show.
Instagram.
That's Chris Thomas Show
Chris Thomas Show.
on Instagram.
Make sure you go there. Make sure you reach
And
out to him.
advertising. If you want to be on the radio show, just text and you want your business. We reach a lot of people, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of people. And check me out on Good News Bowie with Darius A. Stanton. We got a show on there called The Comedy Corner. And I interview top comedians from all over. And he has a show called Good News Bowie. And it comes on at 8:30 in the morning on 77 in the Bowie area, and have another show called Peace in the Morning.
Yeah, you just have a lot going on.
You're a
You're
busy guy.
doing a lot of things.
Well, everybody want that thing that's just gonna hit.
Yeah.
If the comedy club hits, then that's good.
Yeah.
You know, it's not really all about the money. It's always about having money to retire with.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not $1 billion. People used to talk about $1 billion. Now they're talking about $1 trillion.
Yeah.
But what are you trying to buy?
Yeah.
A lot of people dead who got rich too.
Right. Right.
I don't know what killed them. I don't know if it was the money or the stress.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, money does some funny things to people.
Yeah. True.
Absolutely. So we're about to go around the horn. This is the segment where we each say something that we want the listeners and viewers to remember. So what do you want to leave our people with?
There's a lot of important things in life that we go through, and this country, as well as nationally and internationally. We seem to think that solving other people's problems is war, or keeping God out of everything until you need something, and that's when you put God in.
Mm-hmm.
I think that people ought to do a little soul searching, and really understand that at the end of the day, it's going to be where they want to be.
Right.
You can watch all the movies that you want about Harriet Tubman, because those days are over with. We really don't want history to repeat itself,
Right.
because it's not in our favor. I think people ought to pray. If you don't know one, say the Lord's Prayer, and just remember that whatever you do in life, do unto others as you will have them do unto you. And just love and try to keep and speak. I've been trying, and I don't know, I'm trying to get this legislation passed. They got every other day or every other week, they need to have a hello week.
Yeah.
And we need to get the ball running. And people just need to speak, because when things happen like in California or in New Orleans or Haiti, we do not know how it would feel to have something like electricity or no food for a length of time. Either you're going to humble yourself today, or I don't know what history, or humble yourself later.
That's awesome. Man, that we certainly appreciate you coming here. We appreciate everything you shared. And I know our listeners, they went through a whole range of emotions during this episode.
Well, no, it's not. The emotion part that people need to understand is some people like violence.
Yeah.
And some people don't. But the young people didn't sign on for it. Not with other young people. I don't know what they're fighting about. I don't know if they're fighting around the girl around the corner, or the girl that says she likes somebody else. But they're fighting for something.
Yeah.
And they're shooting each other for something. And when they, quick story, I told a guy who's in Indianapolis, in Gary, he's running for office. And they have, if you've been to Gary, Indiana, it's horrible.
Yeah.
You can buy a house there for $20,000 there.
Wow.
They won't put up a museum for Michael Jackson. So we were talking about the kids killing each other. I said, well, maybe you need to have a task force called Locked and Loaded. Where you're letting the kids know that you're coming out locked and loaded, prepared to say if you really gonna try to go out here and shoot somebody, then you're gonna try to fight somebody who already has a gun. And I don't think it would happen when they have a snowstorm or a hurricane. You don't hear nothing about violence.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, everything is over. Everybody is shooting and killing each other about what?
Right.
There is no explanation for death. You're going to die anyway. No matter what year or what day, from cancer, from a car wreck, a rock falling from the sky, something.
Right.
But ain't that much anger. And I don't think jail is going to solve anything anyway. it's only basically it's going to just give you life.
Right.
It's going to help you live a lengthy time because they're not doing that in jail. They're actually saving your life. So, I don't mean about the emotion. All right.
All right.
And that's it. Let's get back to the jokes.
Yeah, I'm great. So how I'm gonna follow that, man? I'm just just honored to have you on the show.
Oh well, I'm be coming back.
Yeah, man.
I'm be knocking on the door all the time.
Please do, man. Please do, cause just you watch your work for years. I always said I think I could be a comedian, man.
Well, you are.
And so
You make your lady laugh or your wife.
And I try to make whoever laugh I can make
That's
laugh. But I always wonder what it would be like to try to do stand up. Like, what was it like your first time?
Well, go do it. I'll have you come up on the stage. I'll have an open mic night.
Okay.
Call the Rising Stars.
Okay. Now I want to invite the audience, and I want to set the time because I want to make sure I got some folks that's gonna laugh.
But I don't want them to get carried away about being serious. We all are serious because we hear a problem in this city.
Yeah.
And people don't want to address it. They feel like we living in the past in slavery, and there's good people and there are bad people.
True.
There's good officers and there are bad officers.
Yes.
But most of them are just afraid. They want to go home at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Right.
No one signs on to get shot.
Right.
They only sign on to keep the peace.
Right.
So I don't talk about this on my show. You get this in.
This show is serious.
But y'all gonna open it up. I mean, it's just serious. People need to come out and laugh. People don't come out as much anymore.
Yeah.
There's clubs like, I'm gonna give you clubs that people should go to. The Bottom Line, over near BK Miller's, Sunnybrook. It's a nice spot, but it's in between. Don't expect no patent leather or alligator shoes. It's a joint, but they keep it clean.
Right.
The important part is clean. They got some good wings, and if you ain't got a lot of money,
Yeah.
and they keep it well guarded. It's next to a liquor store, a deli, and a sports bar. People go to the fish market.
Yeah.
I'm sure y'all guys go to the fish market, right?
I ride by there, but people do go
Or
there.
Sobeys,
Yeah. So.
or Half Note,
Yeah.
or wherever you are. Or JoJo's. There's a club downtown called JoJo's. It's a jazz club on U Street. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Or Ben's Chili Bowl.
Yeah.
Or I got to get my buddy on your show. He used to be the middleweight champion of the world. They just opened a sports bar on 8th Street.
Okay.
Yeah, I like to have one.
Yeah, his name is Percy Harris.
Okay.
And I want to thank Pam and thank Shelby for asking me to come.
Yeah.
And what's the young lady name?
Gina.
Gina, and the young man, 24. Huh? Trey. You got a long way to go, Trey. I mean, really. Life is supposed to be enjoying it. So I thank y'all very much. And as Barack will say, thank you, everybody. Thank you so much. It is indeed a pleasure for me.
Okay.
For me, everybody.
We love you.
And Sylvester Stallone, I love you too. Yo, AJ. Yo, Pam, me loves you too, AJ.
Rocky.
Oh my God.
So for my around the horn, which again I don't know how I'm gonna follow, but you mentioned this. There's this theme of how you partnered with other comedians. You've helped other comedians.
Exactly.
Right? And, you hear this thing all the time where, he's a self-made millionaire. I don't think anybody's really self-made.
Right.
I think to really get to where you really need to have those relationships.
Oh, yeah, and I want to give a shout out to Mike Lee.
Yes.
Mike Lee does the production for my radio show. He won 5 film festivals in a row.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And Mike is fantastic. Tony Medley, who's
Yes.
the producer of the radio show.
Yep.
No one makes it by themselves.
Right.
David Chappelle didn't make it by himself.
Mhm.
Somebody, he caught their eye. They liked David, and they offered him money. He was able to sell.
Mm-hmm.
He was able to sell, and what he did on the Chappelle show sold.
Yep.
Eddie Murphy's coming back.
Mm-hmm.
They miss Eddie Murphy.
Yeah. Yes.
Yep.
He just did the movie about Dolomite.
Watching it tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
See, they don't talk about me, but I gave Dolomite his only Oscar. He had a birthday party here at the Club Elite on Brinkley Road, and they hadn't given Dolomite a Rudy Ray Moore recognition.
Yeah.
And it's too bad that he's passed away for
Yeah.
them to, because somebody else is going to make money
Yeah.
off of his life. Dolomite was something else. He had a tour out a long time ago called the Watch It Sucker Review with Aunt Esther. It was Aunt Esther, Dolomite, Wild Man Steve, and Blowfly. And Candy Baby, and I had the privilege on being on some of those dates many years ago. So, yeah.
And even with everything you've accomplished, and as famous
Oh,
as you
no,
are,
it's
but
still-
you still reach back and you still provide opportunities.
But
for
one thing
people.
about when you make a few dollars, you end up spending a lot, not really realizing. So I'm still on the grind because whoever you put yourself around, if they don't have a whole lot of dollars, they should be wanting to make something. You can't do something and just cause you say, I'm with Chris Thomas, I'm going to charge $100. That ain't who buying the ticket.
Right.
The people who you're trying to be able to tell others they had a good time, it was reasonable, and you want to go back on a continuous basis, just like clubs that you hang out or restaurants you go to.
Yep. Well, outstanding. So this has been an excellent episode. I think Britton had to jump off.
Yeah, had to jump off. But all this talk about Applebee's and Olive Garden, man, I feel like we need to all go to Applebee's
Y'all was
or
doing an
something
interview?
after the show.
Hey, can I I'm just doing a podcast over here, Sylvia, and I was just telling them about you, and they want to have you on their podcast. Hold on, this is Sylvia Traymore.
Hey, Sylvia.
Hey, Sylvia.
Hey, Sylvia.
Hi, how are you guys doing?
Doing good.
Excellent.
Is Wendy there with you?
You know what? Hold on.
That's how the reception is breaking up.
Yeah. I'm doing fine, Wendy.
Oh, wow.
Wendy.
You keep going out. You keep going out, Wendy. She's probably. You keep going out.
Oh my God! You know these phones nowadays. That's what Kevin used to say all the time on the phone. He would say, "You keep going out," and then he would hang up and I would know where it was. You know.
Wow, it's such an honor to have Wendy on the phone.
Yeah, because they have Eric and Ted here, and they have a show on podcast. Have a lot of viewers, a lot of listeners, and you have 2 books. She has 2 books out.
2 books.
Yes, I do.
No. That's. I'm sorry, Wendy. You read Sylvia's books, right?
Oh my God! Yeah, I did. I read them both. I read them twice actually. I'm telling you, that's something. That Jelly Beans from Heaven book is. I don't even know where she got this issue from. It's absolutely amazing.
So Pam will be calling you. Tell. We got to get ready to go, but tell Sylvia that I'm headed to meet her, and Pam will be calling her about being on Ted's and Eric's show.
Okay.
Wendy, I love you. You know you're my sister in my head.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Wendy, well, you never know.
I tell you,
Wendy,
again, it's not your everyday podcast. What other podcast does Wendy Williams
just call in.
just call in and start talking to us? Well, this concludes this week's episode.
Hello, this is Walter Cronin. Hello there, this is Ted Cobble. Thank you for joining us. As Richard Nixon said, I didn't do it. Wasn't me.
Don't forget to go to Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and iTunes and type in the 30-minute hour. And until next time, have a great one.
Peace.